You're here again on James Villa. I am Otra saying. The member representing Ideato Federal Constituency of Imo State in the House of Representatives, Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, has yesterday called on President Bola Tinubu to release the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, just as he has freed the End Bad Governance protesters who are minors and who had been arrested for treason. Honorable Ugochinyere expressed that the federal government had employed its constitutional powers through the Attorney General of the Federation under Section 174 of the 1999 Constitution to effect the release of the child protesters. He urged the federal government to invoke the same constitution to release Nnamdi Kanu. Speaking on the need to discontinue Kanu's trial, Honorable Ugochinyere emphasized that the prolongation of Kanu's incarceration has been an obstacle to peace and stability in the Southeast. He called on the president to put up a listening ear once more and bring up a political solution to Kanu's case. The Honorable reminded the federal government of the crisis that had rocked the Niger Delta in the past, which saw the rise of insecurity, including the destruction of oil pipelines and kidnapping of oil workers. He noted that this conflict was later resolved through peace-building measures developed by the government, such as the granting of amnesty to the militants and establishment of certain government agencies to oversee the rehabilitation and the renovation of the region. Honorable Ugochinyere also alluded to other crises such as the Header-Farmer conflict and Boko Haram insurgency, which at different times had to elicit government's carrots, including the rehabilitation of some members of the Islamic sect. He contended that the root of the Southeast unrest lies in years of political and economic exclusions of the Igbo people, and that only a leader who believes in equity and fairness would hearken to the plea of voices calling for Kanu's release. Take a listen.
And I think I will join to this by also pleading with the president the same way he reacted and responded to the feeling of Nigerians and the international community by discontinuing the embarrassing trial of these minors. He should also listen to the pleas from eminent Nigerians, eminent Igbo leaders, eminent individuals in different parts of the country, lawmakers and so on and so forth, who has at one time or the other called on the president to embark on the path of political solution in the Nnamdi Kanu case by discontinuing the trial. So you can see by what the president did in the minors case, he has exercised his constitutional power through the Attorney General take under Section 174 thereabout to discontinue any criminal trial, even treason that has a murder charge at any stage of that trial. So now that you have invoked it for this case that we are charged for treason, also invoke that the same Section 174 thereabout in the case of Nnamdi by discontinuing the trial. The trial has it has prolonged the return to the path of peace in the East. It has cost the East so much, it has even cost the country so much. There is of insecurity, there is loss of life, there is killing, there is destruction going on left, right, and center with accusation and counter-accusation surrounding it. What a listening president will do is to say, okay, let's find a political solution, and which is to discontinue the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, release him on bail, and then embark on the path for finding sustainable solutions to those security challenges. When we had challenges in Niger Delta, when the bombing of oil pipeline, kidnapping of oil workers, killing of oil workers, there's a lot of atrocities that was happening there, whether right or wrong. But governments, because they know their responsibility, their economic responsibility and their welfare responsibility, embarked on a peace-building effort that led to the resolution of the Niger Delta crisis, that led to the issue of Niger Delta military, different agencies that were put in place, amnesty and so on and so forth, all aimed at finding lasting solution. Even the security and pipeline contract was also given to Niger Delta people, and a lot of incentives that was given to Niger Delta people, and peace returned. So government did that. Even as bad as Boko Haram issue that has to do with somebody waking up because of whatever belief, killing people, beheading people, that is a heinous crime, bigger than even treason. But still, government went on negotiations at different times. Government went on rehabilitation. Imagine rehabilitating a murderer that enjoys beheading. But government still was doing it because government wants lasting and sustainable solution. Now, issues that were, triggered by injustice and unfair treatment and exclusion and so on and so forth leads to this agitation in the East. Up till now, the federal government has not sit down on the table to discuss with Southeast leaders and Southeast youth. This even goes a long way to show that they don't care about what happens to the East. They don't care about us. They don't care whether we'll survive. They don't care whether we are dying or whether we're killing ourselves. In a country that today, whether you like it or not, we are the biggest investors outside our region. How many of the regions have massive investment in other regions? That means the Igbo man is one that even believes in the sustainability of the Nigerian project. That is why he can invest in a zone or a land where he does not come from. So, but just ordinarily sit down and let's find a solution. Because the root cause is also rooted to these issues of exclusion. Injustice that have spanned for decades. And the more you are alienated, the more you tell the ones that are growing that you are not wanted. And that's why you see the result to all these crises that have brought instability. Now, instead of finding a way to calm nerves and restore it, you go about showing them, I don't care about you. So I'm using this as I'm commending the president for freeing discontinuing the treason charges against those kids. We're also begging him that exercise the same constitutional provision under section 174 thereabout, and let the Attorney General issue a knowledge and discontinue the trial of matters. And especially at the time that the judicial system has made conclusive pronouncement at different times, Federal High Court, different court, that this trial has no legal basis. At least in these cases there have been final pronouncement, but you're still fighting and must prove that he's guilty. That means hate. That means you hate the tribe.
Now moving forward, commentaries are still pouring in as regards the emergence of Donald Trump as president-elect in the United States election. In view of this, the chief executive officer of Sputnik Records, Chilak Njoku, has labeled Nigerian leaders as cowards. Mr. Njoku said this in a televised conversation hosted by the popular Nollywood actor Kanayo Okanayo on Afia Television on Thursday. Using the Republican candidate as an illustration, Mr. Njoku stated that leaders who are ready to lead should not dread to die, but must be poised to sacrifice themselves for their people. He warned that if Africa must change, then those who are scared to die must keep away from leadership. He said that Donald Trump was stout-hearted and stiff-necked enough to hold his hand after having been shot in the ear. Mr. Njoku described this act as heroic and emblematic of a leader who was willing to lead despite violent opposition. Have a look.
You as a man, you don't hear the sound.
You don't hear the sound. Yeah.
So why does that worry you as a man? When you want to fight, you go out all and fight. If you decided to lead, you are ready to sacrifice your life for the people. That's what it takes. So those who are scared to die should stay away from leadership if Africa must change.
Those who are afraid to die must stay away from leadership.
Yes. Those who are in power now are not leaders. They are clowns, I will say it again. Any day, they are clowns. They don't understand what leadership is. President Trump took a bullet on his ear. And while they were still trying to take him out, he was still raising his hand to show solidarity to his people.
Hey, what does that mean?
That's the man who's willing to lead. I mean, Trump is a comfortable man. He has no business to go into governance. He said this so many times. I have my issues with him, but it's not a topic for today. But I'm just trying to, take a leaf from it for our leaders. How many of them would do that? They are cowards, all of them. Cowards. They can't stand up to the Westerners and say, no, get out from Africa. The only thing that was Muammar Gaddafi's offense. That's why he's dead today.
Yeah.
He stood and fought for Africa.
Muammar Gaddafi kept on saying, they are setting you up against me when I go.
Yes, you understand.
You will understand.
Look at Libya.
And since then, Libya has
Look
not
at
known.
Libya. They won't see
because in
light.
Libya before now, I know very well, almost everyone had a house. If you graduated from university, you're entitled to $5,000 or more. And so
you get married, they give you a house, give you money.
And so on.
Strong social system. They saw that resonating across Africa. What that means is that we will have a lot of powers to evolve.
Even establishing the Central Bank of Africa or Africa's World Bank.
Yes. They want a Central African Bank with one currency. Yes. They will never let that happen.
Mr. Njoku also spoke on African democracy as criminal owing to undue interference from Western countries. When asked what he would do if given the leadership, he expressed intention to adopt the Chinese method of development in which the Asian country shut itself close to the outside world with the aim of building its economy through introspection and self-help. Secondly, he stated that he would restructure the country back to regionalism, which was an oppression during the First Republic. Take a look.
If China didn't shut its doors, China wouldn't be China today.
Yeah.
And that's what Muammar Gaddafi wanted to do. And they wouldn't let him. Because the other African stooges, not leaders. Because if they were leaders, they would have understood his language. They didn't understand. It was taking too long to convince them. Look at what happened in Niger and Burkina Faso. If all the African leaders resonated the same voice and shut down Africa, there's nothing they would have done. Secondly, I will restructure the country entirely.
What manner of restructuring are you going to carry out for the benefit of our listeners?
Well, we might look at the existing lines, the regional lines. You know, we have 3 regions before. The smaller, the more difficult to succeed. So I'd rather go for 3 regions instead of 6. Yes.
3 regions.
The smaller the units, you know what you call business of scale. When you want to, for example, produce rice. If you are producing 10 bags and your profit is 100 naira, your 100 times 10 is 1,000. If you produce 10,000 bags and produce 100, using 50 naira, you make more profit. So the bigger the unit, the federating unit, the easier it is to succeed, the faster you can, hit the ground running. So that's the reason why I would go for 3 units or 2. Northern, southern Nigeria, or the original 3 that we used to have. I even subscribe more to northern and southern Nigeria. Because the tribes in this country complement each other in very, very interesting ways. But because we look at the bad ones, courtesy of the seed sown into our brains. So what we see is what is wrong with the Yoruba man, what is wrong with the Hausa man. But I tell you, every single person has what they bring to the table. When you have, let me tell you, it's a Christmas day and 5-6 families decide to dine together. Can you imagine what that dining table will be, the kind of food you have on that? You have more variety of things to eat. Maybe a Calabar man brings his food and Hausa man brings his food. And when you just have one family.
Now, away from this, on a sad note, the former governor of Anambra State and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has expressed his condolences to families of victims who lost their lives in the twin ugly incidents that occurred in Imo State recently. Recall that on Tuesday, no fewer than 20 persons were killed when an 18-seater bus collided with a Corolla car at Njaba Bridge in Njaba local government area of Imo State. On the same day, an improvised explosive device exploded at Olo International Market, claiming 2 lives and wounding several others. On his Twitter page on Thursday, Peter Obi commiserated with the families, stating, "My heart goes out to the government and people of Imo State over the wave of tragic events that occurred in the state recently. First was a reported improvised explosive device explosion at Olo International Market, which claimed precious lives and injured many others. The state was still reeling from the shock of the explosion when a fatal accident occurred around Njaba area of the state, claiming no fewer than 20 casualties. I am sincerely saddened by these tragic occurrences which has left families in grief. I strongly urge the state government to deeply investigate and ensure that the circumstances surrounding the explosion is unraveled to prevent future recurrence. I sincerely condole with all the affected families, the state government and people of Imo State over these painful incidents. May God give them and all of us the fortitude to bear the losses and the strength to support one another in these challenging times. May God grant eternal rest to the dead and grant quick recovery to the injured." End of quote. Now, still on Peter Obi, the Labour Party candidate offered a cash gift of 60 million naira to 2 educational institutions in Anambra State on Thursday. Visiting the university on the Niger, Umunya, at his takeoff campus in Iyenu, Mr. Obi donated 50 million to the school, and from there he proceeded to the School of Nursing at Iyenu Mission Hospital, Ogidi, where he made an additional donation of 10 million naira. Disclosing this move on his Twitter page, Mr. Bito noted that he had consistently stressed that the financial support given to health, education, and poverty reduction initiatives was not expenditure but an investment in crucial areas that would propel development. He said that the health and education sector still suffered from neglect and lack of government attention, proposing that the only solution to the problem lay in investing more aggressively in the training of healthcare professionals worldwide. I am Otra saying this is all I have to give you on the Gist Villa on this episode. If you like my videos, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, share my videos, and then subscribe to the Diaspora Digital Media for more exciting stories. Thank you. Bye-bye.